Well, what is going on, everybody? Welcome everybody into the Hump Day Hotline on the Overreaction Sports Network, powered by Believe. My name is Joe Miller. You can find me on Twitter at Joe Miller Wire. That guy over there sitting next to me is Jay Spence the King. You can find him on Twitter at Jay Spence the King. Do us a favor, whatever platform you are consuming this vidcast on right now, please like, please subscribe, hump that like, jump on that like. Hump it, do whatever you got to do to make it go up. Thumbs up is where we're going. And whatever platform you are consuming this in post, if it's a podcast on Victory Thursday or Victory Friday, because we're still in that victory feeling, Jay Spence the King. We're still in that victory feeling. Please do us a favor. Please like, please subscribe, hump that like there as well. And if you can, leave us a review. Do us a favor. Please share with a friend if you think somebody would enjoy the content that you're getting from us. But super glad to have you, Jay Spence the King. The Buffalo Bills are I'm going to say unsuspected 3-0 after an absolute annihilation of the Jacksonville Jaguars, who had me worried.
I'm going to be honest with you. At this point of the year, on all my early projections, I had us 1-2.
And 1-2. Gotcha.
I had us 1-2. I had us losing to Miami, and I had us losing against Jacksonville. So at this point, I was completely wrong. We're 3-0. The Bills look amazing. Josh looks like an MVP candidate. 0 interceptions. He just has the 1 fumble from week 1, but no turnovers other than that. He's completion percentage, I think, is something crazy like 75% or 70. It's something ridiculous.
Crazy. It's insane.
And not even talking about his rushing and stuff, but he's just elite. Real quick, I forgot. I wanted to say this. Did y'all see Joe get jiggy with the intro? Like, y'all see him doing all this new stuff? I wasn't here last week, so I couldn't say it. Did y'all see that? For those listening by pod, y'all couldn't see the new intro that Joe just ran when we started this. I just want to say, man, you upgrading everything around here, and I show up to the party and I just benefit from it. This is awesome.
Which intro? Because there's 2 now. So before every Overreaction show, there's the little stinger that this is the Overreaction Network. Dave Myers from Built in Buffalo actually built that for me. He built me a longer version and I just cut it down. So that's actually the full intro for what is now the post-game show. And I just cut it down and made it a little 6-second thing. And then the video over our song is our intro song that we've been using for 4 years now, however long it's been. That actually was put together in full-length form by Justice. And I just cut that down and shortened it just to kind of give people something to look at while they're kind of piling into the room. But yeah, thank you. I appreciate that. I'm trying to make it look real. I'm trying to.
No, you're doing it, man. And you know what, Justice, shout out to Justice. He did my code of conduct intro a couple years ago when I first did that. So might have to hit him up to re-up on it. But no, I just wanted to comment on that. I know we're talking about the Bills. Let's get back to it. Josh looks phenomenal. Like he's amazing, man. And I just think, I'm like you said, I'm shocked. We're 3-0. We look phenomenal. And you know what bugs me? I see what you just put there at the bottom, and I know we're gonna get to the Ravens later on. But what bugs me is that since he's come into the league, Josh Allen has the most AFC Offensive Player of the Weeks, and that includes Patrick Mahomes. That includes Lamar Jackson. That includes any other quarterbacks in the AFC, Joe Burrow, that you think is amazing. And guess what? Lamar Jackson has won 2 MVPs. I'm just like, we don't have to go into numbers, but I feel like if a guy wins Player of the Week a lot, he's probably the Player of the Year. I don't know. I just feel like that makes sense.
You can the amount of arguments that you can make as it pertains to this exact conversation. There isn't another team, and maybe that's changing this year a little bit. Maybe we're beginning to see that change. In the last 3 years, 20, 21, 22, 23, 4 years, there is no team that would have suffered more if they had lost their quarterback than the Buffalo Bills. Like, I had a conversation with Jerry Ostrowski. I think we were offline, and I said, I feel like the Buffalo Bills would be a 4-win team, maybe, if Josh Allen was not the quarterback. And whoever it was like, no, they'd probably win 8 or 9 games. I'm like, I don't think so. There's like, without him, but the best meme going around on Twitter right now is it's actually a GIF. It's got Lamar Jackson chewing gum. It says Josh Allen has the best stats in the league right now, which bodes well for Lamar Jackson being the MVP. Because that's pretty much what's happened.
But you know what? Yeah. That's how it goes. But now, and I know I'm a Lamar Jackson fan. Like, I don't think it's been a secret over the years that I've like really supported him and the Ravens when the Bills aren't on. Like I root for them when the Bills aren't involved.
Yeah.
However, like let's be honest here. Like I love Lamar Jackson. I love his offense. I love what they do. But when you talk about most valuable to a team and you talk about the amount of offense that would be lost if that one player wasn't there, obviously, no, we wouldn't have scored 47 points this past week, but I don't even think we scored 20 in that game. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Like without Josh, and I get it. Our guys now, which is amazing, like separation, you're seeing guys open. There was a Kincaid play where he had like 5 yards on the guy chasing him. So it's impressive to see these guys get separation and to show up for Josh, but he's pinpoint accurate. He's dropping dimes, man. He's putting the ball in places where only the Bills players are able to get it. And I know it's one of those things where it's cliche. It almost sounds like I'm giving you coach talk right now, but it's just like the honest to God truth. When you watch the game, he's placing the ball where only his players can get it. He's leading them. Like the thing I'm impressed the most with this year with Josh is how he's leading his receivers for that yak. Like before it was kind of like, okay, good throw, good completion, first down. But man, if you would have put that ball out like a yard in front of him versus like right on his shoulder or on his numbers, he probably could have picked up 15 yards. He's doing that this year. Yeah. And the guys are rewarding him, and that was a long-winded answer, but amazing, man.
It's not long-winded when it's on point. On the post-game show Monday night with Jerry, I made the comment that the most impressive thing to me, and I gave him my dude award. I gave Josh my dude award for it. Has been in the last 3 games, specifically in this game, to remain patient and just take the stuff in the flat and take the Pat Mahomes throws, because the majority of Pat Mahomes throws over the last couple of years have just been swinging the ball out to the flat to a running back, swinging the ball within 2 yards or 3 yards of the line of scrimmage. Like, oh, you're open right there. I'll just throw it to you. The fact that he has put himself in a situation where he's willing to take those throws, to me, is opening up. And that, I think, was the hard thing for them to potentially get through his head. Like, make those guys come down to open up the stuff behind, which you and I have talked about it when the Bills were suffering with a run game. When Zach Moss was here and Devin Singletary was here, who were players that you and I both love, the run game, as much as numbers were skewed because of Josh's running, it wasn't great. And we had talked about a lot, like they've got to pull these defenses out of a cover 2 shell. And the only way they're going to do that is to be able to run the football to bring those guys down into the box. And it's never worked. Well, another way to do that is to start hitting guys in the flats and pull them out of those shells and bring them down, because it opens up what's behind. But no, he looks incredible. If he can remain this patient, go ahead.
No, finish your point.
I was gonna say, if he can remain this patient, his numbers won't be gaudy, but I think all of the things that we want him to get and all of the flowers we want, I think, are in front of him.
I agree 100%. The only thing I was going to add to everything you're saying is there on point. Only thing I'm adding is Joe Brady is in his damn luggage. Like, forget a bag, forget that, like, he has luggage that he's carrying around and he's just in it. Like the play designs, I'm gonna be honest, man, and I get it. Like last year, it was a transition halfway through the year because of the change. But look, Joe Brady's out there looking like one of the best offensive minds in football. Like I haven't seen this type of the play where Khalil Shakir, I think it was a 4th and 1 play, or maybe it was like a 3rd play where we got a first down, and Khalil, he motioned in the back and then kind of went behind Josh, where the linebacker thought he was going all the way back to the other side. And when you watch the film, man, he was completely lost. Like he's like, oh crap. By the time he realizes where Khalil was, the play was, he already gained 7 yards. Like I'm speechless.
I think what's interesting is I believe it was Dan Orlov, and that was in the first drive, by the way, and it was a 4th down. And the man cover guy came across, and when Khalil stopped and went the other way, he had looked to see where he was going to make sure he wasn't going to run into one of his guys, and kept going.
Incredible.
Khalil was headed in the other direction. But Dan Orlovsky said on the broadcast that Joe, or maybe it was after, that Joe Brady is making very simple concepts and simple plays look difficult and look harder than they are, which is kind of confusing defenses. It's been interesting. You hope that it maintains. Clearly they're going to have some speed bumps, some road bumps and stuff like that. Real quick, let's get to this just so we can move on. Josh Allen was named the Offensive Player of the Week for the 13th time in his career. This is the 13th time he's earned the honor. And again, this graphic comes from the Buffalo Bills. In Allen's performance against the Jaguars, he became the first NFL player, there's that thing again, only NFL quarterback to ever, right? 200 plus passing yards, 4 plus passing touchdowns in the first half. In the first half since Josh himself did so versus the Patriots, 10-9 of 22. Dak Prescott at Philadelphia won 8 of 22, was the last player before Josh to do so. He also became the first quarterback in the NFL history to complete 75% of his passes, throw for 4 plus touchdowns, have no turnovers, take no sacks, and lead his team. What does that say? Rushing, because the thing is underneath it, whatever, in the same game. It's at what point in time does Josh Allen start? I mean, I guess this is it. Josh Allen is the only quarterback to do this since Josh Allen.
And that's what's happening. He's breaking his own records and ways, and he's doing things. Now, that one obviously isn't one that he broke of his own, but I mean, he's just – I was talking to my grandfather about it after the game this week, and he's like, you think he's better than Kelly? And I'm like, come on, man. Like, I get it. If you're old. But also, I get it. Like, that was my grandfather. But also, I understand everybody who was this plugged into the team in the 90s. So I understand there's some nostalgia there. There's some feeling just about Jim Kelly. You love him because that was your guy. I don't even want to do the comparisons. I didn't bring that up to do this, but I'm more so saying this guy is the best player that we're going to see in a Buffalo Bills uniform. And I'm including Bruce. I'm including Jim. I'm including Thurman. And that's not a slight against those guys. He's just really like that, man. And I'm this close. It's only been 3 games, so I'm not jumping off the bridge yet. But I'm this close to saying, like, I don't know if it's 1 and 2 this year when it comes to Mahomes and Josh. Like, the way he's playing right now, he's playing like the best player in football. Like, he's playing like the best in the league. Yeah, he's just gotta stick. Like, he's got to be consistent. It's got to stay. Moving on. Also, a lot of players had good football games and have had football games so far this season. Khalil Shakir has a 100% catch rate when targeted and has tied the record for the most consecutive catches in a row at 27. I believe his catch percentage was 100% last year, right? If I'm not mistaken, I believe that's the correct stat as far as when he was targeted. I've said it 100 times. 100%. I think late it started to get like the last 2 or 3 games in the season. I think he did because his number's up to 27. So if he was 100% last year, he probably would, because I think he had 50 receptions. You might. Yeah, whatever. I know that. But I mean, he's incredible. Catch percentage was insane last year, which just gives me one more opportunity on this network and on other networks and whatever to say that I was incorrect about him. And not that I was incorrect. My stance was just that we didn't have enough information yet. He had 10 catches his rookie year, so there was a great deal of Duke Williams-isms, Robert Foster-isms of Khalil is the next Stephon Diggs. And even Gabe, because I mean, if we're being honest about Gabe Davis, he's wide receiver 1B. Right. Sometimes guys don't develop into more. Right. Khalil is developing and he's becoming, it looks like he's becoming the next, I don't want to say superstar. I don't want to put that pressure on him, but it's looking like he's becoming that next security blanket for Josh that's going to be consistent. He's always going to be there, and I just love it. There's different variations of wide receiver, right? And this is not scripted. I'm thinking of this in the moment, so if I get it wrong, I apologize. But if I land the plane, it'll be good. You've got guys that are just flash playmakers. Because we talk about flash is a defensive word, right? We need guys to flash on defense, like like Joe Andreessen did in the Pittsburgh game. He was all over the field. He was flashing everywhere. Jamarcus Ingram, who we're going to talk about in a minute, flashing all over the field. In this game again, there's guys, Stephon Diggs, Justin Jefferson, Cooper Kupp, guys that just flash. And then there's guys that are just consistently reliable dudes that go out there and put in the work and win more than they lose by a lot, right? And I feel like that's Khalil Shakir. I'm not sure that he's ever going to be that flash wide receiver. There's no world where Khalil Shakir, I don't think, and if I'm wrong about this one, awesome. I don't see a world where Khalil Shakir is getting drafted in the first round of fantasy drafts, right? However, there's a lot of guys out there when you think of the Adam Thielens in the world and you think guys like that have just been super consistent, reliable, amazingly solid wide receivers.
And that's who they are. And I feel like that's what the Bills got with Khalil Shakir. I feel like he's going to be that guy that's going to command a huge contract when his rookie contract is up. But I mean, he's just super consistent and catches the football, which is probably the most important thing. I don't know. Yeah.
No, well, you know what? You mentioned Adam Thielen. That's a comparison I make often, and I compare him to Bobby Trees. I think Robert Woods is one of those guys that,
good.
Again, he wasn't a superstar, but he was consistent every week. You didn't have to worry about him. The only thing you worried about was if he was injured and not going to play. But like if he was healthy and in the game, he didn't drop too many balls that you thought he should have caught. He was always there. It seems like on 3rd and short, he hustled, he blocked. To me, that's what I see with Khalil Shakir. I think he's just doing all of it, and I think it's paying off. I think him being patient and Josh working with him and the team continuing to develop him and not give up on him like they did Isaiah Hodges and how they did all these other guys that are gone. And we're like, we need receivers. What are you doing? I think he's becoming the guy that we need.
Yeah, I wish we had. There's probably a fun show there later. There's actually 2. I was thinking of another one too. Maybe by week we talk about this topic. So who are some comps, realistic comps to Khalil Shakir? Not body type, not playing style, just as far as production wise, reliability, consistency, all that stuff. And you realize we're making a lot of people mad right now that still think that he's the next Stephon Diggs, right? So we're just going to lay that out there. There's mafia getting mad. It's going to be in the comments section of this show. But we can do a show on that, comps, like solid true comps for Khalil over the last 5-10 years. Maybe look at fantasy, but also, is Joe Brady going to be the offensive coordinator of this team next year? I think there's a show that's going to be coming potentially around that topic.
I mean, it's one of those things where at this point I don't even want to think about it because you know what I mean? It's like I just want to live in this moment, man. Like that was one of the things that I did this summer. I unplugged from social.
Yep.
I stopped being involved with stuff, and then I just wanted to live in the moment and enjoy every day. And you know what? I'm taking that into the season. Yeah. I don't want to think about losing Joe Brady. I don't want to think about him going to another team and coaching whatever sorry head coach is going to get fired next. I don't want to think about him going there to save a different franchise.
He might be the Giants' next head coach. Sorry.
You know what? And
they pulled that game out. They pulled that game out.
But this isn't about the Giants. But Daboll has nobody to blame for himself. Him and Joe. I just feel like it. You're going to get yourself fired. You put yourself now. Danny Dimes apparently has been playing pretty good, but he's still not the guy. And I'm telling you, the season's not going to go the way he's going to get himself fired just because he chose to commit.
They're both going to potentially probably get fired, I think. And you feel like they both had to have committed, right? But the ringing conversation, and we'll get off this topic here in a half a second. The ringing, the words that echo in my head from Joe Shane from Hard Knocks was, I'm not going to have my $40 million quarterback hand the ball off to my $40 million quarterback hand the ball off to my $20 million running back. And it's like, no. That's what you should do.
Exactly what you do.
You have that's the plan, because your $40 million running back is a problem.
You know what?
Or quarterback. Your $40 million quarterback is a problem. But
I think it was after the second week, Daboll, in his interview, was scowling, looking at this guy like he was wrong for asking him about his job security. And it's like, first of all, you guys let HBO document your incompetence for the nation to see. You let that phone call happen in front of us. No, you can't blame you. Come on, man.
Yeah, for sure. 100%. So it'll be interesting to see how that so we won't do a Joe Brady moving on to be the next head coach.
He's not going to
YZ team or blank team, but titled the show, what was it? Undrafted and Unfazed. And I don't know. We talked pre-show just about some of the topics that we were going to talk about. I'm not at Kiko Alonso level of amazement with Jamarcus Ingram, but I'm getting there. I'm not at Jarris Bird jumping off of my couch. He intercepted another one right in his rookie season. I'm not at that point. But just to see, and Cam Lewis is a great story, has been a great story. He's, been on and around this team, and now he's playing the best football he's ever played in his career. 2 years ago, he was a GIF or a highlight or a meme, when Justin Jefferson goes up and takes that ball away from him. And now he's just playing super consistent, reliable. His name doesn't get mentioned, football. And then you've got Jamarcus Ingram on the other side of that is just balling. Like, the dude is on a path to be an all-pro football player in this league this year. If he can, it's probably not able for him to keep up this level of play. Who knows? Maybe he can. And then you got Joe Andreessen. So the Buffalo Bills are finding something is happening, because one of the knocks I feel like maybe not we have had, or maybe we have had, but I've heard from other people that do content, whether it's nationally, whether it's locally, whether it's professionally or not, hobbyists, it feels like there's been a knock that the Bills have had trouble developing guys. And now all of a sudden, you got Cam Lewis, undrafted free agent from UB. You've got Jamarcus Ingram, that's been here for a while. Jamarcus Ingram, undrafted free agent from UB, that's been here. This is the second year, third year. And then you've got Joe Andreessen, that's down the road too, or down the, that took snaps because that game was out of reach.
In fairness, I think this is the first year where we can look at them and say, like, the development is jumping off the page for me. Because I feel like
that's what that was my point.
Yeah, because so I'm agreeing with you. I've said it. I've been one of the one that's critical. Like, the Bills don't know how to develop players. Why are most of our draft picks gone? If you look through the drafts, a good number of them are on different, not just first rounders. A good number of them are on different teams, and it just second rounders. I think it's something like, it's like 65% of the draft picks are on different teams.
Yeah.
So but this year, you're right, man. Ingram, Cam Lewis is always, I love Cam, like he's a good dude. I felt bad after the Jefferson play and all that stuff, but he stuck with it and he stayed with it. And I thought the Bills, obviously, they loved him as a special teams player, but just like DeMar, man, they're working hard and they're proving that they deserve to step into the role that Jordan Poyer and Micah Hyde left, or Trey White left, or whatever position that they can kind of get in on the field. They're proving that their loyalty and consistency to the program and to the team and what they've asked them to do, the development is paying off. And now you see these guys. You mentioned Ingram; he's looking like an all-pro man. Like, I don't want to steal what I started for Jordan, but I'm almost at the Ingram for all-pro where we riot. Like, I'm almost there. It's like, how is this guy not defensive player of the week? Like.
Yeah.
No, I'm not going that far. I'm just saying, like, I get excited. It makes me, because, like, when you mentioned him and you talked about how, like, you're not quite at the level of, like, the excitement of certain guys. I'm gonna tell you right now, it just take one more game for me, man, and I'm feeling the way I feel about Matt Milano, because now everybody might come down on me for this, like, Spence, you're crazy. When Matt Milano was drafted, I did not think Matt Milano was going to be this guy.
Nobody did.
I thought Matt Milano was going to be basically a solid player. He's going to be a good linebacker. It was what it was. If it worked, cool. Or not. Nobody thought he was going to turn into probably one of the best linebackers. I mean, I don't want to argue with nobody. He's top 5 for me. When he's healthy and playing, he's a top 5 linebacker.
Oh, yeah.
Ingram, I didn't even think this kid was going to make the roster. You know what I'm saying? Like, I didn't even think he was going to. And you look at him and he's out here balling, man. So no, I'm 100%. Like, I'm all in. You give me one more game. Don't have to be an interception. You break up some passes this weekend. You let Lamar Jackson not be able to throw touchdown as Zay Flowers, or you shut down Mark Andrews, or you just do that. And you see how code of conduct or hump day is going to sound next week for Ingram. It's going to be flowers. It's going to be sirens and bombs, good bombs, and all this stuff. It's going to be all types of stuff going on, man.
I feel like I need to give you the opportunity, and also unscripted moment on this show, to walk back some conversations and some words that you've had about DeMar.
No, I ain't walking back shit. Why am I walking back? I still feel the same way. I don't think that. I understand everybody goes, he got the interception. I don't think that was one of those. And I'm not hating. I'm happy he got the interception. I love DeMar Hamlin. I hope that he plays. I hope he's balls out for the Bills. Like, real talk. I hope that he's the best safety back there for the Buffalo Bills can be. I think the way that interception happened, he wasn't like covering the guy. It was a bad throw.
It's true.
It fell to him. I'm not taking it from him. He caught the ball. He had to catch the ball. He played defense, but he didn't do anything where he, like, was a jump ball going up against somebody. He mossed him and Brandon. He's not balling like that. Come on, man.
No,
Like,
to your point, what the point that you're making, the play that has been all over Twitter and social media of Christian Benford on the out route that Brian Thomas Jr. ran, who's a Blazer, and Benford is not a Blazer, but he used his steps efficiently and got out of his break to recover and knock the, and break up the pass. To your point, but that might have been the quote of the season right there. I ain't walking back shit.
I ain't walking back shit. But no, again, I'm very happy for him. I don't want it to sound like, because I know that's how things get turned and twisted. I'm not throwing no shade at him. Like, I want this guy to succeed. The guy on the team that I dislike the most is Von Miller. I'm rooting for him to be great. I want him to be great.
He's you go into every season with the what if, or if, hopefully if, or maybe if, right? If maybe if this guy returns to form, or maybe if this guy develops and takes that third year, fourth year, like progressive jump. And it seems like all of those are getting cashed in right now. Right. Even
before the season, I said to you, I said, we're hoping that Von looks somewhat kind of like old Von, and we're hoping that Groot shows up and becomes like Groot. And guess what? Both things are happening. And like, if you can't see Groot being, AJ Epinessa's hooping, like the team is hooping. Everybody, to see a defense that we thought, man, you lose a lot of veteran leadership, and you lose this and you lose that, and oh my God, Matt Milano's injured. Oh my God, we can't. And then you're holding the Jaguars to 10 points. You're blowing out I know Tua was injured halfway through the game for the Dolphins, but you're blowing out last year's most efficient or best offense in the league. Week one, look, the defense did some things in week one. I feel like the ball bounced a certain way. I think week one was more challenging than it had to be when you go back and watch that film. Even still, like, they were making plays and doing things that I just didn't expect this defense to do. I'm all in on DeMar Hamlin. I'm all in on Von Miller and all those guys. But no, when they prove me wrong, I'll be the first one to apologize and say that DeMar Hamlin is really a better player than I thought. I just can't say it from that interception on the other night.
Sounds good. I appreciate that. Let's transition to this week as the Buffalo Bills are going into what is it? Baltimore, right? To play the Ravens on Sunday Night Football, a team that we seem to play a lot, Jay Spence, and they always make me nervous. However, and it's because Lamar Jackson is so good and he can beat you at any time. However, the Bills tend to do pretty well against them. Let's take a real quick look at the injury report from the Bills today. Josh Allen, left-hand full participant. Bernard has been ruled out, as has Taron Johnson, which, by the way, I don't know if you saw it.
His broken arm, yeah.
Well, they haven't confirmed that, but I don't remember which play it was. I think it was one of the touchdowns. Player came over to, and Taron Johnson walked up to him, and they went to like slap hands, and he gave him his left arm and kept his right arm down, like awkwardly did it. Like, I'm not gonna dab you up with this arm. I'm gonna keep that one on my shoulder. I'll text it to you. But it was
but I'm also gonna text you too, because I think I saw it. I think
did they finally
Scalia or somebody reported that they ran into him in the locker room and asked him about it, and he said that it was a broken forearm, but not fully broken. It was more like a hairline. And it would take 4 to 6 weeks, and the Bills were hoping that 4 was the timing, but they're not sure.
Yeah, I'll shoot you mine as well, just because it was like, oh, that looks way worse. That doesn't look like he's coming back next week either. Ka'ir Elam had a neck. He was limited in practice. Tylen Grable with a groin did not participate. Quentin Morris, shoulder, full participant. Mitchell Trubisky, knee, full participant. And it said that they had a walkthrough practice on Wednesday. Obviously, the Bills are on a short week this week, going from Monday Night Football to Sunday Night Football, which is not as short as it could be. 1 o'clock on Sunday would be worse. But when you look at this football game, when I look at this football game, I'm kind of in that mode of, I don't know. It's not that I don't know what to expect. I was nervous for the Jaguars game because the Jaguars have just played us well and kind of have traditionally. It's just not a great matchup for us. It doesn't seem like. They've got talent up and down that roster. As much as I'm not a Trevor Lawrence believer, it doesn't remove the fact that Travis Etienne is on that football team, that they've got wide receivers on that football team. They've got great defensive players on that football team. Mitch Morse is on that football team, who we all love, right? It doesn't remove any of that stuff. Where I'm going with this is when I think about the Ravens in particular, what's difficult for me is just the Lamar Jackson factor. And now they've got Derrick Henry, who is going to have a 75-yard run against us, right? Can we just give it to him first run of the game, 75 yards? So. You don't think so?
I don't think so. I think the Tennessee offense and the Baltimore offense is so different. I think this game Sunday, he obviously went off. He had a really good game. But what I've seen those first 2 weeks, it's a different concept. It's a different type of run game for him. And I don't think he's been able to quite hit the holes the way the offense is designed. I don't think that he's lost a step. I don't think that he's not good anymore. I just think the Buffalo Bills, we've historically, since Josh and Lamar have been drafted, we've played them well. I think they beat us one time in Buffalo. Right. They came close a couple of years ago in Baltimore, but then we came back and beat them.
Red-haired tight end that went to the Falcons. He scored the long touchdown. I was at that game. Sorry.
That wasn't okay. So it wasn't Andrews. I thought it was Andrews. I remember that game too. I was there.
Was it Hurst?
Maybe it was Hurst. Hayden Hurst.
Hayden Hurst. Yep.
So, I look at those games, and I think Coach McDermott has a pretty solid game plan for how to defend Lamar Jackson. So to be honest, I'm not as nervous. I'm nervous about Lamar. He's an MVP 2 times. Mobile quarterbacks destroy us. We saw what Kyler Murray did week 1. And I think those type of things, matter. But I also think their defense isn't as good as they have been. I think they lost a couple players that mattered a whole lot more than they probably want to let us know. And then also, again, I just think that right now, if Josh is even playing, if he's 75% of what we've seen the first 3 weeks, I still think he's the best player in the world if he's playing like this.
Yeah, the Ravens to me pose, not that J.K. Dobbins, Gus Edwards, all those guys that they had weren't challenges before. They just posed different challenges this year. Mark Andrews and it's Isaiah Likely, right? Likely as tight ends. Likely is an incredible option. And then obviously Derrick Henry. It just feels like it's no longer a contain and frustrate Lamar Jackson, and you'll come out on the right side of this thing. The defense, I agree with you. Their defense versus our offense. But for all intents, it's just going to be interesting to see how the whole thing shapes up. It's going to be a good football game, primetime game, and the Bills generally play pretty well on primetime. So last thing for this episode, as we always like to do, Josh Allen's stat line prediction as well as a game score prediction. I'll go first on the stat line. Josh Allen, to me, in this game, it seems like he always plays the Ravens well. Give me another decent game from Josh Allen, meaning higher numbers, like 21 of 27, 21 of 28, somewhere around there. Not a ton of numbers, but enough attempts, probably for over 300, about 305, and 3 tutties, 1 on the ground. What do you got?
I'm gonna go a little less than that, but not because I think he'll play bad. I just think that what I'm seeing from Joe Brady and his team, they're doing things each week for the game plan for that team. And I think we're going to see a lot of James Cook. I think we see a little bit more Ray Davis. And I think there's going to be more design plays for Josh Allen to run this week. So I think overall they're still pretty careful because of his hand, but I think we're going to see maybe one of those 60-yard rushing games from Josh instead of the 30, So I'm going to go with like 180 yards passing on maybe 18 of 23. I don't think it's going to be crazy. Nothing crazy, but I give him a touchdown in the air and 1 on the ground.
Nice. And then score prediction for you?
I still think the Bills are kind of on this high, and I think Baltimore's railing. I'm going to go Bills. Let's say Bills 30 to 17.
I feel like I'm similar. I feel like the Bills are going to find the 30s in this football game, and I think the Ravens are probably going to fall in around 28. So give me 34 to 28. What is that? How does that work for you? That work good for you?
Yeah, I think
excellent.
Touchdown covers the spread. We're good.
Yeah, that's all that matters. Ladies and gentlemen, we're going to get you guys out of here. Thank you so much for tuning into the Hump Day Hotline.
Hump Day.
Overreaction. You did. That's fine. Sports Network powered by Believe. Do us a favor. Hump that like before you get out of here. Please subscribe. Appreciate you guys. We'll talk to you. Jay Spence the King and I will talk to you next week at the same time. For me, for Jay Spence the King, for Jerry, for John, we love you guys. We'll talk to you soon. Go Bills.
Go Bills.
Go Bills.